Hello TypeScript fans! Today we will improve the try catch block here by defining the shape of our error. Ideally, we would like to define the error as a real error class so that we know that we have an instance of error at hand. But unfortunately, TypeScript forces us to specify any or unknown in the catch clause. So let's use unknown here. When we then have the error, we would like to log it to the standard error output stream. So error.message should then be logged to console.error. But unfortunately, we will see the error here that the object is of type unknown because we haven't specified it any further. So let's try to narrow it down. We'll write an if statement here and we will check if the type of error is object, because objects can have properties such as message. When we do this and we put our console error log statement in here, then we'll see a new error, which is that the object can still possibly be null. You may be surprised now, but it's actually not surprising. Let me show you in a Node environment. I will start Node here in my terminal and I will check what is the type of null. And we will get to see that the type of null can indeed be, or is indeed, object. So null is also of type object, which means that this check is not enough and we need to make an existence check. That's pretty easy. We just check if error is truthy. And now that we verified that the error exists and is of type object, we still get to see another error because we don't have a guarantee that the message property actually exists on that object. So we can solve that by defining an in type guard. So we check if message is in our error object. So if message is in error, and then we should be able to access it. Unfortunately, we still get to see an error that the message doesn't exist on type object, which is pretty strange since we are checking it here. I can tell you already that the problem actually sits inside of TypeScript. So let's check which TypeScript version we have at hand here. Using npx, I can check my local TypeScript compiler version, and that will tell me that I'm using now version 4.8.4. I will also run a compilation. I will use the no emit flag to not produce any output, but I want to see the compiler errors, and I get to see the compiler error here, TS2339, using TypeScript version 4.8.4. Yeah, and that says that we can't use here the message on that object. We will now make a small excursion into the World Wide Web to see when this error in TypeScript got fixed. Here is the pull request to TypeScript itself, which improves the checking of the in operator. It's pull request ID 50,666 and it's a fix done by Anders Halsberg himself. And we can see that this fix is part of the TypeScript 4.9 milestone. So we have to update our TypeScript version to 4.9 in order to benefit from it. Here we are, ready to update our TypeScript version. And what I want you to deeply understand is that TypeScript is software just like any other software. So it has new features, breaking changes, fixes, patch level updates. So all the things that you are familiar with. And to update TypeScript, we can simply go to our package.json file, where we then watch out for our TypeScript dependency, which is here version 4.8.4, and then we update it to the latest and greatest, which by the time of this video is 4.9.3. I will run npm install to fetch it from the npm registry so that it lands in our local node modules. To verify the installation process, I will run tsc -- version again, because I'm expecting now to see 4.9.3, which indeed is the case here. So the next thing I will run is the compilation process. So I will kick it off with no emit again, and we will see that there is no error this time. This means that an upgrade to TypeScript 4.9 solved the problem of TypeScript error 2339. But unfortunately, it's still showing up here in our IDE. So why is that? Well, there is this TypeScript version that actually ships with VS Code. So VS Code comes with TypeScript pre-installed, and we need to change that to use the workspace version that we have in our local node modules, which is 4.9. When doing so, the error will also vanish from our IDE and we are good to go. I want to show you the .bin directory in our local node modules because this is where all the executables that come with our installed packages are being linked. So if we execute npx tsc, then we are using the executable from the .bin directory here. In today's video, we've solved many different TypeScript errors, but there are way more TypeScript errors that can show up on your screen, which is why I created TypeScript TV. On TypeScript.tv, there is an errors section where you can then navigate through the different error codes. So let's pick some error code here. Let's say 2322. And then you will see the broken code as well as the fixed version and a video on how I solved it live in a demo session.